players as wartime traitors, and the pinnacle of dishonor and betrayal. One prominent presenter called for harsh punishment, emphasizing that such actions in wartime conditions demanded severe consequences to serve as a warning to others. Fears for the players' safety grew. You could see Australians were, came out en masse for their support, knowing that if they are allowed to go back to Iran, they will surely be killed. Donald Trump also called for them to be protected. He said Australia is making a terrible humanitarian mistake by allowing the Iranian national women's soccer team to be forced back to Iran, where they will most likely be killed. Don't do it, Mr. Prime Minister. Give asylum. The US will take them if you don't. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Trump warned, and I'm glad that Australian Prime Minister listened. As of today, the five players out of the, I think, 11 or 22 Iranian women's national team have been granted asylum. Here is what the Prime Minister, tweeted. Said, last night I was able to tell 5 women from the Iranian women's soccer team that they are welcome to stay in Australia, to be safe and have a home here. This is what he said in a statement.
Further, late last night, we issued 5 humanitarian visas to members of the Iranian women's soccer team. We've been preparing for this for some time, and indeed the Minister for Home Affairs, Tony Burke, travelled to Queensland on Sunday, returned, and then travelled again last night. Australians have been moved by the plight of these brave women. They're safe here, and they should feel at home here. The AFP have had plans in place with Commissioner Chrissy Barrett directly involved. And once it was made clear that these women wanted assistance, the Australian Federal Police moved them to a safe location where they remain. The Minister for Home Affairs has spoken directly with the ASIO Director General about this, and we dealt with this as well through our appropriate security forums. We're willing to provide assistance to other women in the team, noting that this is a very delicate situation and it is up to them. But we say to them, if you want our help, help is here, and we will provide that.
Morning, guys. We just got some great news that 5 of the Iranian women national soccer team members have been taken into protective custody in Australia. They don't have to go back to Iran. They don't have to go back to their families. They don't have to go back to their country. How could something so happy be so sad at the same time, For those of you that are still so anti-Trump and so anti-Israel that you cannot see what a huge help they're doing to the Iranian people by eliminating the Islamic Republic, I hope that one day you don't exist. I just gotta tell you, today is such a sad and happy day at the same time. That we have to be happy for these lionesses. That they don't have to go back to Iran to get raped and tortured and executed. All because they didn't sing the national anthem. God bless you, lionesses. You are the true heroes. You are the bravest team on this planet. I am so sick and tired of the rest of you who just have been so anti-Trump and anti-Israel, that are so blind. I want to thank again and again and again and again. Thank you, Prime Minister Netanyahu. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you to the brave men and women of both military. Thank you for sending help. And thank you for helping eliminating the worst government and the worst leader on this planet. God bless America, God bless Israel, God bless Iran, and Javid Shah. And girls, to the Iranian national soccer team, women's soccer team, you guys are just such badasses. We love you so much. And I hope the rest of you get protective custody soon, and love you. That's it.
So here's an update on the Iran women's football team, and it's fairly urgent. We know that they have been declared enemies of the state, deemed as wartime traitors for not singing the national anthem ahead of their first match at the AFC Women's Asian Cup. Now this morning, just a couple of hours ago, we've heard the news that the new supreme leader of Iran is Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the former leader. What's important to note with him is that while many Iranians have never heard his voice, in fact have only ever seen one photo of him, he has very close links to the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. This is the paramilitary unit that operates in all sectors of society in Iran, and there are those with the Iran women's team who also have very strong ties to it. One of those is Mehdi Taj. He's a former commander in the IRGC. He's now the head of the Iran Football Federation. Not only is he head of Iran's Football Federation, he is a vice president of the AFC, the Asian Football Confederation, putting on this tournament. So where do their allegiances lie? With the women of the team who may not want to go home? Or with their own political ambitions and their own links to the IRGC. Now, there is also some rather worrying evidence, credible evidence, that I have learned in the past 24 hours. According to this source, when major events are held in Australia, there are contracts signed between the major event organisers and the Australian government involving Home Affairs. That requires that if anyone, any official working with the organising committee or staging the event, if they hear that anyone is rumoured to be looking at seeking asylum, claiming asylum, their first point of call is to Home Affairs to alert them that this is happening. Not so that they can put them in touch with a human rights lawyer in the first instance, but so that security tightens around these people, making it even more difficult for them to be able to contact a human rights lawyer. I did send emails to both Home Affairs and the organisers of the AFC Women's Asian Cup asking for immediate clarification on that point. I have not heard back from either of them. That email was sent yesterday afternoon, early evening. In the past 24 hours also, some opposition members of Parliament have jumped on this story, obviously seeing it as a way to pressure the Labor government about what they are doing to protect these women, if anything. Which leads me to another piece of information which I have received from several independent sources, not known to each other, but who have close ties to the Iranian women's football team. Many of the players have felt sandwiched between the politics at home and what is going on as the war continues, and the politics of a lobby group that is working actively to reinstall the son of the Shah, or the Crown Prince as he is known. Factions of both of these two groups almost came to blows in the stand during Iran's last game yesterday, and people were escorted out by security. So there's a whole lot of political stuff happening around the edges, but what's at the centre of all of this is the humanity and the lives and the livelihood of the Iran women's football players. If everyone could put their differences aside and focus on them for a moment, and for their safety and for their wishes about what they want to do, to give them some breathing space to be able to make an informed and calm and clever decision, then surely that is the number one priority for anybody involved with this story.
And then also, some other Australians were marching in support of these players. They said, help, 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 and then the help came. And you could see, you could hear from the Prime Minister saying that the asylum or the protection is offered to almost all the players if they are interested. So as of today, 5 have already been granted asylum. So it's not left for the other remaining players to decide to go back to Iran, because I am very sure that the way this Iranian regime is, even the player that will be returning to Iran will be punished. They are going to be punished. They are not going to be spared. So if I were them, all of them will seek asylum in Australia. They don't have to go back. You don't have to go back. So that is what the update is all about. So the situation escalated after the Iran's national women's team were eliminated from the tournament on March 8th, following their 2-0 loss to Philippines. As the team prepared to depart, 5 players that have not been granted an asylum, they made a dramatic move. They evaded their handlers at the team hotel on the Gold Coast, slipped away with some assistance from the Australian police for extraction and protection, and they got their asylum. The 5 women identified are Zahra Ghanbari, the team captain, Zahra Sarbali, Alisa, Mona Hamoudi, Fatemeh Pasandideh. And this is not just them. Their families in Iran were also threatened. Their family in Iran, they were threatened by some government officials to tell their kids, to tell their daughters not to seek asylum. They should return to Iran. Imagine return to Iran to be killed or to be punished or what. So that was the intense pressure that the parents of these, young girls faced. So they had no option than to escape. If they did not escape, their handlers or those that are in charge of them in Australia, Queensland, would have forced them back to Iran, where we don't know what will happen, whether they will still be alive or what, we don't know. But we are glad that 5 decided to seek asylum and was granted unto them. You can see that picture evidence, the Prime Minister also making a statement that asylum has actually been granted to them. So we wish them all the best, and I'm glad they are put in a secured environment, because if they are just allowed maybe to walk around Australia anyhow, you never know. There must be the supporters of Ayatollah Khamenei's regime in those places. I know how arrogant and arrogant these people could be. They could try to hand them or something. But we are glad that Australia responded, and we are glad they are safe.